It's my great pleasure to welcome Ambassador Kirk Wagar to the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy and to join other distinguished guests in having this dialogue to discuss, the state of our world today. And I'm going to begin by asking you about President Obama's recently concluded trip to Asia, where he visited Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, and the Philippines, and sort of get from you a readout as to sort of what were the key goals in this trip, and what do you think he accomplished as a result of coming here?
First, let me stop and say thank you for this opportunity. It's a great honor to be at the LKY School. This is probably one of the most important academic platforms for the region, so I appreciate the opportunity. To your question, I think that President Obama again demonstrated the shift in attention that we have done as a country towards Asia, probably before his presidency, through our businesses and some of the imperatives of the growing region here and the economic integration. This is just one more example of that trip. But I think going to the countries he went to showed that we have a whole of our Asia focus, North Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, and continue to grow in that regard. The President's the first president to sit with all 10 ASEAN heads of state. And between furthering the Defense Strategic Agreement in the Philippines, discussing TPP in Japan and Malaysia, and really just talking about the innovation and entrepreneurial programs that we have to lift up all of Southeast Asia.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the TPP because that's going to be my next question. As you know, that's been very much a major initiative of President Obama and his administration. How would you say the TPP process is going as of now? And also, how do you see, in a sense, China's relationship with the TPP in the long run?
I would say that while the President certainly has made it a priority of his administration, TPP was well underway before the President turned his attention to it, and Singapore was one of the founding partners of the Gang of Four. And it was a good idea then with 4. It's a great idea now with 12. I've said this many times. After 20 years of practicing law, I'm not surprised that getting the fine-tuned details at the end are difficult. Getting 2 people to agree on anything is difficult when you put it in writing. And getting 12, it's even more difficult. But I think it's symbolic of the fact that all nations expect to be bound by it and have others bound by it, that is going through the detail. I think that we are on track to hopefully get something done by the end of the year. I think that Singapore has really shown some incredible leadership hosting the last 3 ministerial meetings. And we have some very good momentum going forward. President Abe, just last week at the Shangri-La Dialogue, mentioned that it was one of his priorities as well. So, you're going to have 40% of the world's GDP under one trade agreement. It's a pretty exciting time, and really bringing the East-West corridor with Chile, Peru, Mexico, Canada, as well as the United States involved. To the second part of your question about China, it's really the thing that's different about TPP than any other trade agreement, and Dean, you've dealt with these longer than I have, but there seems this new model of agreement that is self-executing is exciting to me. That if a country meets the requirements of the standards that are set in the agreement, then they are open to seek membership in it. This is not an agreement that would have to be renegotiated with anyone. So, for example, on the investment portion of TPP, currently the U.S. and China right now are negotiating on the section is almost exactly the same of that. And so this is a great opportunity for China to move in the direction, and this is a more the merrier if we believe in a framework for global trade. So any country that meets the requirements, we would invite them in, I think. Some of these countries are doing really great things to qualify for it. I mean, I think that some of the work that Vietnam is doing with their state-owned enterprises to really come in compliance with this, it's hard work, but it's important work, and I think the benefits long-term will far outweigh some discomfort.
I'm glad you said some positive things about Singapore's leadership role earlier. I was going to ask you now that you've been ambassador for, I guess, 9 months or so. How has it been your first experience as ambassador, and what's your perception of Singapore, this country?
The one thing that those of us who are new to government do is we talk to each other. So I have many friends that are serving around the world, and I believe that I could not have asked for a better post. you know, some ambassadors spend a lot of their time traveling to different provinces, meeting with state legislators and stuff like that. I wake up every day and work with an incredible partner in Singapore to look to how we can do things better in the region and some even globally. And the level of the government here, the civil servants here, the military here is second to none. And to have a partner in the region that I think gives us local perspective, because sometimes America thinks they know more than they do, and to have a friend who gives us some candid advice is incredibly helpful. And I think some of our capacity helps Singapore multiply its reach into the region. So I feel very fortunate that I get to work side by side with such an incredible partner.
Thank you. So finally, you know, we hope this video will be watched by many young people around the world, including young people in America who are looking for a place to go and study for their postgraduate studies. Some of them may be wondering, should they come to the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy? What's your advice to them?
Well, Dean, I will tell you that if I was in that situation, the LKY school would be my #1 pick. I did a semester abroad when I was in college. I went to London. It was transformational for me. But as we look forward to the next 30, 50 years, I don't think there's a more dynamic region in the world than Southeast Asia. And the platform that Singapore gives to see the entire playing field, and frankly, the integration now of Oceania much more into Asia than it was a few years ago, I can't think of a better place to learn and understand and travel to see all these different cultures and all these different economic models and types of government. So you have an incredible facility, but you also have a ready-made laboratory here to test your theories, to have people of different points of view discuss. And I can't think of a more academically dynamic place than LKY.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you taking the time to spend time with us, and we look forward to a continuing engagement with you.
You might get my application for graduate school. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.